Hello everybody and welcome to the Torquay Cows Offshore Powerboat Race, August 2023. As we look down now in the marina on pre-race day, today is Saturday, scrutineering, checking boats and equipment and making sure all is in order for the grueling race down to Torquay and back non-stop. For other boats there is the shorter course from Cowes to Poole and back. So let's go down and meet some of the crews. Boat H400, the magnificent Bertram Hull Thunderstreak, where one of our favourite crews are racing today. Driver Hugo Peel, throttles Adrian De Ferranti and navigator Richard Jessel. And just for a moment, we're very privileged to be able to have a look at the layout here. They've re-equipped this boat beautifully. Modern instrument panel, 3 decent bolster seats, but the exciting bit, so we're looking down now at the engine bay of Thunderstreak, twin 8.2 litre V8 Mercruiser engines, modern engines in a much older hull. She was built in the 1960s, probably one of the oldest boats here racing, but still highly competitive. The scrutineer is on board in the white shirt there, checking everything for safety and also equipment. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been joined now by Hugo Peel and his wonderful crew of Adrian De Ferranti and Richard Jessel, the crew of Thunderstreak. Boys, you had a very successful weekend down in Falmouth. Tell us about it.
Oh dear, it was very emotional because they granted us the Cornish 100 trophy, and as we raced Tommy's old boat, he won it in 1965 and Tommy's boat won it again in 2023, and that's pretty special, and it's a very fine trophy and we were very touched to be granted it.
And how many years ago did Tommy win the trophy?
I think it was 65.
Gosh.
And therefore that makes it about 58 years ago.
Right, very special year for you. Richard, how's the navigation going for tomorrow in the race to Torquay and back?
We're going to Poole.
Oh, you're doing the Poole
short
race.
course,
Okay,
yeah.
right, okay.
And everything looks great. We've had a bit of a check out of the course, looked at the buoys, and everything's good.
So just remind me, down to Poole and back, how many nautical miles are you doing?
Technically the course is 67 miles.
Right.
We do a loop round Poole Bay and then come back up again.
So how long do you think it'll take you to...
Well, that's a very difficult question because the Falmouth race we spent 2.5 hours or nearly 3 hours out on the course, whereas the Lymington course we spent an hour and a bit out on.
Yeah.
Our average speed on the Lymington course was 62 miles an hour. Our average speed on the Falmouth course was 22 miles an hour.
Yes.
So it was very, very slow and very, very rough.
Well, we're waiting for you. We'll be out there waiting for you to come over the finish line tomorrow. And finally, Adrian, now we're not racing, or you're not racing on any of offshore of land that you actually own in Dorset tomorrow, are you?
Well, no, because I don't actually own any land in Dorset. I'm a farmer in Hampshire.
Oh, it's in Hampshire, is it? Oh, right, I got the wrong county then. So, Adrian,
I quite like Dorset.
Tell us what your experience is in the Cowes Torquay and the Cowes Poole race. You've done this several years.
I'm really looking forward to, because the northwesterly wind isn't really the nicest wind for chop in the Bournemouth Bay.
Yeah.
And so, but actually we quite like it quite rough because it's to our advantage.
Yeah, because she's a rough weather hull, isn't she?
Well, yes, and it slows everybody else up a bit, so we have a chance of catching up.
Pretty rough crew as well.
Well, I know that goes without saying, particularly after last night in the Royal Yacht Squadron. Just very briefly, Hugo, the engines are brand new engines, are they?
No, they're in their 3rd season now.
Yeah.
And we blew the original engines up. I say we blew it up. Someone else blew them up for us. And we sat and said, what would Tommy have done with blown engines? He would have gone out and he would have bought the latest engines with as much power as his wallet could afford and the latest propulsion system. So we changed from V-drive to stern drives and V8 to V8, Ford to Mercruiser.
Brilliant. Well, as we call you now, the gentleman team from the Royal Yacht Squadron, Hugo, Richard and Adrian, it's always a privilege to interview you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, there are many classic offshore hulls here today, and this is another one. This is a Velocity 31 designed by Steve Stepp. The very first Velocity to be imported in England. We subsequently brought in a number of Velocities, one of which I successfully raced here in England with twin V8 engines. Now here we have the mount. Mr. Noisy is the name of the mount, and it is Alan Goodwin, driver, Will Brown, throttles, and Lee Smith, navigator, and the man himself is standing there looking down at the engine bay. We'll have a word with him shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Goodwin, long-term powerboat racer. Alan, how are you today?
Yes, I'm well actually, yeah, looking forward to it.
Right,
This
so
is my last time, of course.
Well, you said that last year and the year before. Now tell us about the race. Which one are you doing tomorrow?
Cowes Pool, I'm doing the Cowes Pool.
Right, so this boat is Velocity 31.
Yes.
And you've campaigned it for how many years?
Well, I've owned it for 28, I think.
Yeah.
So, other than a short break in the middle, most of the time. So the last 10 years, we've only done 5 years of the last 10 years.
Well, last year you did very well in this race, didn't you?
Yes, yeah, we did, yeah.
How do you feel about the race tomorrow?
Well, I think we're on top of it at the moment, really on top of it. I should think we're amongst the front runners.
And looking down at the engine bay here, tell us something about the engines.
Big block 5.2 litre Chevrolets, 8.2 litre, where am I, 5.2. My age catching up with me, 8.2 MFIs. So, 4-inch exhausts, about 500 horsepower each. Looked after by SMS.
And
East Cowes.
what sort of speed does this give you?
Well, we were out testing the other day and we saw sort of 75.
Really, that's quick.
Well,
Yep.
it's fast enough for me.
And what about the conditions tomorrow? What are they forecast to
I
be?
think they're going to be quite favourable.
Right.
Quite flat. Sometimes a bit too flat for a boat like this. You need to get a bit of air under the boat. But I would think if we can average 65, I'll be very happy.
Well, Alan Goodwin, you're a first-class competitor. We're not going to talk about age, but at least there's one trophy I think you're going to get tomorrow.
Probably.
We'll wish you every success tomorrow and a safe race as well. So there we are. Thank you so much again, Alan Goodwin.
Thanks, David.
Okay, so we've got Mango Crazy here. This is a classic Hunton Powerboats design. Jeff Hunton built these boats in the 80s, 90s and beyond then, and this boat was successfully campaigned by the Countess of Arran, Lady Arran, then known as Hell's Angels, and now restored to some of her former glory under the name Mango Crazy, with a crew here from the Isle of Wight. Gentlemen, this is an amazing privilege to be joined by Jeff Hunton, the designer and builder of this beautiful boat, Peter Hall, the new owner. Jeff, first of all, tell us a little bit about, this is Lady Arran's ex-Hell's Angels. Tell us a little bit about the boat.
Right, this is Hell's Angels number 2. We built 2 for Fiona. The first one was built for her, then she found out I tweaked the hull slightly, and she wanted a new hull, but she couldn't afford a boat being laid out, and she wanted it free really. So Bill Hillman had damaged his boat, so we took the deck off of what was the old puffer boat and put on a brand new hull, and that became Hell's Angels 2, which she raced for the second year she was with us.
So there was something special you fitted to this boat as an extra.
Oh yes, well we had to put a pennant on obviously, but also we had to put a bicycle clip that held water on the bicycle, which contained actually the finest single malt with a dash of spring water apparently.
I seem to remember there was a sipping tube.
Oh yes, a plastic tube, and that was what kept her going. Nowadays, of course, that would be totally frowned upon. But she used to start the race slightly pickled and arrive fully pickled.
I remember that because I used to race against her. So, Jeff, when did you build this boat? What year?
It would have been 86. 86 or 87.
Yeah.
87 this one, 86 the first one I think it was.
Amazing. So, Peter, the boat is now in your capable hands. Peter Hall from the Isle of Wight. What happened to the drinking tube? You know? The one with the whiskey bottle.
Well, I'm virtually teetotal. I drink very, very little. So we decided again, we have a little holder here for our water.
Okay, right. Well, you're strictly kosher.
I will drink, but not especially
So,
in the boat.
how many years have you been campaigning the boat?
This boat?
Yes.
Just since November when we bought it.
Good. So, how did you do down in Falmouth, or did you miss that
We
race?
missed Falmouth.
Very sensible.
We've done well. We won Poole. We've come third in the other two races. So
Right.
we have a little bit of a few points. We're trying to beat Hugo, who's our main rival. We just need to try and get a couple more mile out of her, which we've stripped the hull off this week down to bare gel coat. So we're leaving it a little bit rough. So we're hoping to get a bit of aeration from her.
That's a good thing, yes.
Basically, we've changed back to 4-blade propellers.
Right.
We've had a few problems with the propellers, so like everything, we're testing, trying, seeing what's best to. What gives her the best performance, really.
Well, Hugo Peel in Thunder Street, we've just been talking to him. He takes the competition very seriously with you, Peter. So we'll look forward to a battle royal between Mango Crazy and Thunder Streak in the race tomorrow.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter Hall, and Jeff Hunton. Wonderful to see you,
And you,
looking fit and healthy. Hugo having a bit of banter here with Peter Hall
I drive Thunder
and
Street.
meeting Jeff Hunton.
He started hunting boats. And look at him.
Yeah,
He's only 27.
a very interesting conversation here.
Now, we have a very important presentation to make to Mango Crazy, whose generosity at the first race we came up against with each other with some Isle of Wight fudge. Now, being a Bertram, we are on the international front, so we present to you with great honour, for all generations, something to suck on, and in particular, a very special gift with which you may
my
not
God.
be unfamiliar, used by the 29th of August. Unless you sit on it on the way round. When
So-
I'm going to have a
The
curry
mango
tonight
is
now.
handed over to Mango Crazy.
Right.
Absolutely wonderful. Let's have a look at the packet.
they got us
There we are. He
Isle of
has
Wight
mango
fudge
sweeties.
on the first race, and we thought revenge had to be
Absolutely. Well done, Hugo and Richard and team. Brilliant.
very good.
Mr. Noisy living up to his name. Wonderful. The torque of the engine kicking the hull over. Looking down at the Cougar monohull here, I-38, racing in Class 1. Talk to the crew. Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by the crew of On the Pool Racing, a rather evocative name if ever there was one. Mike Jenkins.
Yes.
There we are, and
Rob Jenkins,
Rob Jenkins.
Mark Smith.
Mark Smith. Who's here sitting in the stern? Another Jenkins. Well done, boys, getting together as a team here. Tell us a little bit about the boat.
The boat was bought, I think it was 7 years ago now, as a yard find. It was actually on the Isle of Wight in a yard here. I bought it, and then over the sort of last few years we've built it. We did Cows Torquay not last year, the year before, but we got as far as Torquay, but then broke a drive plate. And then, we've had all sorts of other work commitments, so it hasn't happened since. But we're here to give it a go again and see what happens.
Okay, tell us a little bit about the engines.
There's some engines I've built myself. They're basically Chevrolet engines, supercharged, 800 horsepower each on 6 drives. When we first put the boat together, we were on 3 drives, but we kept breaking them, so we invested some more money and bought some 6 drives to go on.
All right, wonderful. So tell me about the crew. What's your position here in the crew?
The boat's mine, and I'm a marine engineer, so I'm working on boats all the time.
Are you driver, throttle?
Throttleman.
Throttle man?
I'm passenger and assisted navigation.
I'm Mike Jenkins, Rob's brother, and I'm steering.
So you're the helmsman?
Helmsman,
okay,
that's it,
boys.
yeah.
Now, have you all done the Cowes Torquay before?
Yeah, me and Robert have.
Yeah?
This is my first time.
First time, okay. So, about 220 nautical miles non-stop.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the race tomorrow?
Hopefully it'll be alright as long as the weather plays ball with us. Should be fine, hopefully.
So is this a rough weather boat?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we can keep up with the outer limits, huh?
Yes. Now that's a challenge.
We're very heavy. She's a heavy built boat, so yeah, we don't want it flat really.
So with that power, 800 horsepower, twin engines, what sort of speed are you getting out of it?
Late 80s.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, it's going to be exciting to see the start tomorrow. We know you're serious contenders, so we wish the team of On the Pool Racing all the best. And when you finish the race and get line honours, we'll find out a little bit of what's behind the name of the boat. Thank you all. Thanks, guys. Boat I-69. This is the Dragon Hull AT Offshore Racing. Looking forward to talking to the crew. Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by Tristan and Andy on board the Dragon Hull. Tell us a little bit about the hull and your power units.
Well, she's a 39 Dragon, powered by two 725 Ilmores. Tristan does all the engineering, so he can tell you a little bit about them.
Engines, right, Tristan?
Yep.
Naturally aspirated?
Naturally aspirated, 8.2 V10s, basic Dodge Viper engines marinized by Ilmore.
Absolutely wonderful engines. We know that. Their reliability record is second to none.
Yep.
So, any other boats powered by Ilmore these days?
Last off is, I think, the only other Ilmore powered.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you feel about your chances tomorrow in the Cowes Torquay?
I think pretty good. Yeah, we've had some good tests. We had a good race at Falmouth, so yeah, it's confidence.
How did you do down in Falmouth?
Second.
Well done, yeah, because it was very rough.
Very rough,
it was extremely rough, yeah. We're hoping for the sea state to
pick up a bit.
Pick up a little bit.
So this is a rough...
the outer limit boys don't run away too far.
Yeah, she's a rough weather boat, this is
very much so,
yeah, absolutely marvellous. Well, the boat's in very capable hands with Andy and Tristan. We wish you well tomorrow in the Cowes Torquay Cowes. 220 miles non-stop.
Yeah.
Okay, well done, boys. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, we couldn't walk past Dry Martini without saying hello to the crew. And we've been joined today by the crew of Dry Martini. The new owner, Jonathan Sainsbury. Hello, Jonathan.
Hey, how are
your
you?
son, Hector.
Hiya.
And, of course, the indomitable Mike Bontoff, who's responsible for recreating and keeping this boat running. Jonathan, tell us, what does it feel like to own an iconic piece of machinery like Dry Martini?
Well, it's a wonderful thing. I mean, it's an exciting thing to own. People always say, don't they, that you can never say you actually own it, and it's true in the case of this. I'm just holding a little bit of history for myself for a while, and but we love it. Yeah, but it's not just the boat. Yeah, it's everyone. It's Hector and Mike and the story and the history. It's fantastic. I'm absolutely loving it.
So, tell us a little bit about your experience of offshore racing.
So, as a wee nipper, I used to go out with my father in his boat, and just to watch the racing. Always was desperate to have a go at it. Never really had the chance until I bumped into this reprobate Bontoft here, who talked me into this one. And it's the best thing I've ever done. I've absolutely loved it this season so far. It's been brilliant.
Well, it's wonderful to hear of somebody with that enthusiasm. We do wish you well tomorrow, and I guess you're in the hands of your son Hector on the navigational side, is it, Hector?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. We're going to try and do our best. I've got everything dialed up the best it can be on the simrads and everything, so should be great. Hopefully no wrong turns.
What could possibly go wrong, Mike?
So it's 220 nautical miles there and back. It's a long race.
It is a long race. It's
Have
the longest
you done it
race.
before?
I haven't, no. Never done it before. I've only actually navigated in 2 races ever.
Right.
But we didn't make any wrong turns in those 2, so hopefully we'll be fine.
Yeah,
well done. Well, actually, this is a tremendous achievement. Here we have a fairly new team to the sport, but we do have the iconic figure here of Mike. Mike, you've been in the sport for years. How's the boat running?
Very good. Yep.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can. It's a long, obviously 220, which is more than actually normal. I've done it, I think 12 or 13 times now. So, and the boat's been amazing. It's been so reliable. So hopefully we can go there and back.
So Mike, just remind us, the hull, how old is she?
It's 1973. It's a cigarette, 35 foot, driven back in 73, 74 with Carlo Bonomi. World Championship boat in America. Raced primarily in America, so it never came over here. The 36-foot one was the one that was raced over here.
And she's got rather special engines. Tell us about
Yeah,
those.
they're original. They're just been bored out slightly from the original. It was Class 1, which was 500 cubic inch. We're like running 540 cubic inch. Big block Chevrolet, mechanical injection, no electronics, pretty much. It's all mechanical.
So that mechanical fuel injection is what gives Dry Martini that distinctive exhaust, isn't it?
It's the exhaust and it's the intake, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, look, we've got a great crew here. We do wish you well tomorrow. We'll be waving you across the line and we'll be looking forward to seeing you roaring across the finish line. The crew, ladies and gentlemen, of Dry Martini. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Graham.
So we're looking now at Karma, a 36-foot cigarette. This boat has been beautifully restored by Christian Toll and his colleagues, some of whom we're going to meet in a minute. It was the UIM World Champion in 1977, so that gives you some indication of the age of the boat, but very capable of winning a race today. The preparation of the boat, as we will see in a minute, is, as I say, exceptional. The dashboard layout is here, extremely functional and clear, brand new instrumentation, but period correct in its style. The throttle and trim tab and adjustable drives all displayed here on the very clear readouts. Triple bolster, which is a standard configuration for a boat of this era, and Mark Harvey's working on the engines at the moment, but we'll have a quick word with him when he's free. We are now joined by Mark Harvey. Mark, tell us a little bit about the engineering on this beautiful boat.
Oh, it's been absolutely superb. You know, throughout, I mean, the engines sing like they wouldn't sing before. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Doesn't want for anything.
And I see your colleague Jim, who's very camera shy. He's been responsible for a lot of this engineering as well.
Rigging, yes, yeah, he's done a fantastic job. Very pretty, meticulously set up. Yeah, very good.
Tell us a little bit about the engines.
Well, obviously big block Chevys. They are Holly EFI, all computer controlled. Fantastic. Just trying to get them a little bit more fuel efficient is what we're trying to do at the minute to obviously get there and back.
What sort of speed do you get out of the hull now?
It depends. We go between sort of 70 and 80 mile an hour, depending on how much fuel we carry.
Right.
You know, that sort of region. Still trying to get her to the sweet spot, shall we say.
And would you call this a rough weather hull?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it will go wherever you put it. It will go through it. It's very, very good. It likes a bit of chop.
So, she was built in the 1970s.
Correct.
Racing then as Karma from the start?
I don't actually believe it was from the very start. You'd have to ask, that's an Ian Toll question, that is. Yeah.
In the hands of Betty Cook, I seem to remember.
Yeah, the original was, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a full replica of said boat.
Yes, it's a testimony to the original boat.
Oh, yeah.
But the originality is not just in the name, it's in the hull, the engineering.
Oh, the attention to detail to the original is like you wouldn't believe. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. It was a privilege to talk to you,
Thank you.
I hope all your hard work pays off tomorrow for the crew.
Let's hope so, yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Well, that is Dry Martini fired up there. Peter, this is marvellous. Is that today's edition?
Today's edition of the Isle of Wight County Press.
Well, there you go. Peter, you're now famous. Power up for the high-speed Solent thrills. Well done, Peter. From the Isle of Wight. Brilliant. Mango crazy, everybody. Caught sight of Karma going out of the marina for testing. Beautiful sight. As others are spending their time cleaning down the decks, all helps make the boat go quicker. Well, I've just spotted double two shirts coming in here. Another boat racing from the 70s and 80s. Double two shirts. Owned and driven at that time by the owner of double two shirts. A well-known shirt manufacturer in England. Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by Drew Langdon. Drew, owner, driver of Silverline, this magnificent Outer Limits. So Drew, what have you been doing to the boat recently to get a few more knots?
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
We haven't a bit of that.
Yeah, that's nice.
We just changed the drive, basically.
Okay.
We broke a drive on the last race. A few little tweaks, but nothing too major, just to get us reliable and everything ship-shape. So we're looking good. We've got one little test to do now, and then that should iron out the last few problems we had yesterday, which nothing major. But I just want to make sure everything's, you know, in top order before we start tomorrow.
Okay, well Drew, you're one of the record holders here at the time to do the cows, Torquay cows. You've won the race many times. How do you feel about your chances tomorrow with the other Outer Limits out there on the circuit?
Yeah, well, we have a chance. That's all I can ever hope for whenever we start this race. As long as you're in with a chance, that'll do. Nobody knows what's going to happen. It looks like it could be quite bumpy out there.
Yeah.
Certainly off Portland, and St Albans Ledge will be a bit messy. So anything can happen, and I kind of prefer it that way. So that suits us better. I don't think it's the record-breaking weather tomorrow.
Yes.
So it's more of a case of survival, get around and hold on to them as long as we can. You never know.
And the experience, you as a crew, very important that for this race.
Yeah, Miles and I have worked together for years. You know, this is my 20-something Torquay. I've done a good 7, I think, with Miles, so we know the water really well, and really looking forward to getting back in the seat and doing the long haul, because it is a long way, you know. And
it's well 220 miles, non-stop.
Well, hopefully non-stop.
Well,
we've stopped many times before, but that's not the plan.
So Drew, we wish you well tomorrow. You're one of the most experienced crews on board with Miles Jennings co-driving. So you're out to go testing now?
We are indeed, yeah.
Go, let's hope it all goes according to plan and for the race tomorrow. Thank you, lovely. Drew Langdon.
Lovely to talk to you, David. Thank you.
There we have Drew Langdon, the owner and driver of this magnificent Outer Limits hull, powered by turbocharged petrol engines, just getting ready for his test drive. Looking now at the blunt end of Good Boy Vodka, just remind us, what are the engines?
They are Mercury QC4Vs with Motec electronics on them, and they're running just under 1100 horsepower.
Right, what's the cubic capacity of those engines?
9.1 litres.
Yeah, these are monsters. Wow, look at that. If that's not a well-prepared engine bay, I don't know what is. So we're going to try and grab some of the crew in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, great pleasure to be joined by some of our American cousins from across the pond, Alex and Shane. Guys, you're over from Michigan, I gather.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us, what is your role on Good Boy Vodka tomorrow?
I'm going to be helping, me and Scott are going to be navigating this boat. So just kind of point it in the right direction and see what happens.
Right, what's your experience in offshore racing? I gather you got something pretty quick back in the States.
I mostly do poker runs, and then we travel around to the race circuit and watch Alex and them do all the racing.
So what's the boat you're using out in the States? Tell us a little bit about it.
It's a 42 Statement Ultimate. The name of it's Saddle Up. And we use that on
traveling around going to poker runs in the United States.
Now that's got some pretty big engines in, I could see.
It's got the Mercury 700 SCIs with 6 drives.
Right, so you're used to a boat of the speed of Good Boy Vodka then?
Yeah, just maybe a couple clicks down.
Yeah, well, this is a quick boat, the Outer Limbs. Alex, what's your role tomorrow?
I'm going to be keeping this thing straight driving tomorrow.
So you're driving?
I am.
Can you come? Are you able to get a bit closer to us so
Yeah,
we can
absolutely.
just hear you over the roar of your competitors out there?
Yeah.
That Silverline's engine's just fired up. So Alex, tell us a bit about what you've been up to in offshore powerboat racing in North America.
So I've been running with P1 and Class 1 all year. It's been going pretty good. Yeah, we've been having a good time racing this year.
So Class 1 in the States, now that's pretty quick stuff. Monohull or...
Cat Hull, yeah.
Cat Hull,
Yep, we
yeah.
run an MTI 48 Cat Hull.
So which series are you racing in there?
That is Class 1 series.
Right.
We run an 1100 competition engine there.
What sort of speed are you guys getting up to these days?
Depending on the circuit, anywhere between 130, 150.
Yeah, that's pretty damn quick. Yeah, we
Yeah.
haven't yet
Oh, yeah.
seen that over here. But now you guys are over here, do you think you're going to be bitten by the bug of British powerboat racing?
We might.
Yeah, it's a super special place and we're excited to be here.
Well, this is it is the oldest race here in England. It was brought here by Sir Max Aitken in 1961. So it's always great to see international competitors. We welcome you both and wish you well, a safe journey tomorrow and a quick one on Good Boy Vodka. I gather, Shane, you're something to do with the company.
Alex is a friend of mine. He's the owner of the company.
Yeah.
We're always supporting him.
Well, thanks very much. We're looking forward to having a tot of the vodka later.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thanks, boys. Didn't realise Rob was sitting on his boat here while we were doing the interview with our American friends. Rob, tell us how you feel about the race tomorrow.
Actually, this is the first time I've been nervous this year, but just because it's such a long race and we know how damaging it can be to the equipment, I want to finish.
Yeah.
I really want to finish.
So the weather forecast tomorrow is a little bumpy, we think. Is that for you, or is it something you would
Well, I'd
prefer?
rather it flat because I'm
Yeah.
old, you know,
Yeah.
but
No, I don't-
it is what it is, we'll take it.
Less about the age, more about the hull. I mean, this is a quick hull in smooth water, isn't she?
Yeah, very quick in
Yeah.
the smooth.
Yeah.
It's not as good as you would think in the rough, but it'll do just fine in the rough.
So we just heard from Shane and Alex that they're now racing at speeds of up to 140, 150 miles an hour, which is pretty exceptional.
Yes.
What have you seen on the GPS on this boat?
We've been over 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're quite capable of that. From what I gather, 120 is possible.
It may well be.
You can't possibly say.
No.
Well, Rob, you've done extremely well this year. You're leading the championship in Class 1. So tomorrow, a lot hangs on the result.
An awful lot hangs on. If we have a good finish tomorrow, then it's really, really positive for the championship and for the year. And it'll be the icing on the cake for all the hard work that we've done, and Charlie Williams at Nortex has done a phenomenal job on the boat. So I really hope for a good positive finish tomorrow.
Well, Rob, you've got a great team. Lovely to see your pals over from the States. We wish Good Boy Vodka, Rob Lockyer in charge, the best of luck tomorrow, and let's hope you come home with that championship win that you are so looking forward to.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Rob. There we have this magnificent boat, another Outer Limits, strong competition for Drew Langdon and Miles Jennings, as you've just heard, and it will be interesting to see these two boats battling it out on the Torquay Cows powerboat race tomorrow. A quick look round now at the marina, where we see some of the race boats reposing. Dry Martini, AT Offshore Racing, and the Cougar Hull. We're going to take a short break now, short lunch break before the briefing this afternoon, Saturday. That's Charlie Williams there, who has just been given the accolade as being responsible for the preparation of the boat and the engine. So we were privileged to have a look down here in the engine bay, And those are the power units that could bring line honours tomorrow to this Outer Limits hull. So we're looking down now at the marina again, with the boats gracefully reposing at the end of the pre-race day. Tomorrow the race starts Sunday, 10 a.m, the 27th of August 2023. What a lovely sight this is. H400, Thunderstreak, there's Pantera there, there's a boat 606 I can see to the right of the camera, an old fairy huntsman that would have taken part in the very first Round Britain powerboat race, I think in 1969. So lots of historic, interesting and far more modern boats here. End of the first day of the Torquay weekend. We'll see you all in the morning. So here we are at the reception of the British Powerboat Racing Club before the race day. This is the party hosted at the Commodore's house. There must be several hundred people here, a lot of them out on the deck there, looking out over the Solent. Pre-race racers, organisers, event supporters, thank you for all being here, and we're looking forward to a great race tomorrow.
Thank you very much to Powerboat 2023.
Powerboat racers.
Amazing.